All right, let's get right into it. The story we're exploring today isn't your typical ghost hunt. No, this is about a psychological war, a high-stakes chess match between a human investigator and an ancient, incredibly powerful entity. And the prize they're fighting over? Human souls.
We're going to come back to those words. They are absolutely chilling, and they represent the terrifying personal cost of this fight. But to understand how we got there, you first need to meet the players in this deadly game.
So, our conflict kicks off when one man's investigation uncovers a truth so dangerous it basically pokes a sleeping giant, an evil that's been hiding for thousands of years.
So you've got the battle lines drawn. On one side, there's the investigator, Dakota Frandsen, and on the other, this powerful being he dubs the Lord of Shadows. But this isn't a fight about brute force. It's a duel of wits, pure strategy, and psychological warfare. So who or what exactly is this Lord of Shadows? Well, Frandsen's research leads him to a truly terrifying theory. He's not just dealing with some random spirit. He believes this entity is Cain, the Cain from biblical lore, the first murderer. And it's not just about who he is, it's about what he's doing. Cain has supposedly spent millennia gathering up corrupted souls, building a massive army for some kind of final apocalyptic war. And this is where it all goes sideways. The whole thing ignites when Frandsen makes a fateful decision. He says Cain's name out loud on a YouTube live stream, sharing his theory with the world. The response wasn't just fast. It was immediate, and it was unbelievably violent. The Lord of Shadows didn't just send a warning shot. It launched a full-blown, coordinated attack against Frandsen and his whole team, live, for anyone watching to see. And the attack was just chaos. It erupted all at once, across different parts of the world. A team member in London messages Frandsen that she's choking, coughing up blood. Another person on the stream, known as the Reverend, is literally being choked by an unseen force, right there on her webcam. A third guy, the patient, starts acting erratically, his face looking like it's physically shifting. It's so much, so fast, that Frandsen himself is completely overwhelmed and has to kill his own video feed. But here's the thing. In the middle of all that chaos, Frandsen did something incredible. He didn't just run and hide. He took a breath, regrouped, jumped back into the live stream, and with this powerful, commanding voice, he literally severed the entity's psychic connection to the patient. It was the first real sign that he wasn't just a target, he could fight back. This is where the story takes a sharp turn. Frandsen knew he couldn't win a head-on fight, so he had to get smarter. He had to outthink an ancient evil. He switched from playing defense to playing offense. So how in the world do you fight something like Cain? Frandsen's approach was nothing short of brilliant. He started building a psychological profile, just like you'd see an FBI agent do for a serial killer. He theorized that this ancient, all-powerful being had a major weak spot, deep, unresolved trauma from thousands of years ago, all tied to his mother, Eve. His method was just so logical, it was almost clinical. He followed this really clear 4-step strategy. First, he monitored the victims to figure out how Cain was attacking. That allowed him to identify patterns and emotional triggers. From there, he built out that psychological profile, which led to the final genius step. Exploit the profile. Use Cain's own weaknesses against him. So, armed with this psychological intel, Frandsen gets ready to do something most people would call insane. He's going to try and force this entity to the negotiating table. This is his biggest, riskiest move yet. Obviously, he can't just pick up the phone and call Cain. So Frandsen performs a ritual designed to basically broadcast a message directly to him. And what's in that message? The one thing he knew Cain couldn't possibly ignore. He mentioned his mother, Eve. It was the perfect psychological hook, and it worked. Cain had to respond. And this brings us to the bargain. And honestly, it's a masterful move. Frandsen makes Cain an offer that sounds way too good to be true. He says, "I'll make a documentary about you. It'll be so scary it will literally mark vulnerable viewers with fear, making them easy pickings for your army." He's essentially offering to gift wrap new souls for Cain. And the price for this amazing gift?
Just a small sign of good faith. Call off your forces. Stop the attacks on the Reverend right now.
And unbelievably, the gambit worked. Almost right after the deal was made, the Reverend reported that the torment just stopped. The entities were gone. Frandsen had won the round. He had outsmarted the Lord of Shadows. But that victory was about to come with a horrifying price.
Now, Cain was smart. He kept his word. But that didn't mean the fight was over. Oh no. He just changed tactics, shifting from a broad assault on Frandsen's team to a deeply, deeply personal attack on the people he loved.
Cain's retaliation was just surgical in its cruelty. See, he didn't break the deal. He found a loophole. The attacks were no longer on the team, they were on family. And these weren't random acts. They were calculated strikes aimed at a former girlfriend and even his own unborn nephew. All of it designed for one thing: to cause the most emotional pain possible. First, his ex-girlfriend from high school was attacked. And the detail here is just chillingly personal. A shadowy entity apparently cut right through a tattoo of Dakota's name that she had on her shoulder. The trauma from that attack tragically caused her to have a miscarriage. And then the next blow hit even closer to home. Frandsen has this incredibly vivid, horrible vision. He sees himself playing with his nephew, who isn't even born yet, when a black void opens up and the child is dragged away, screaming, by Cain himself. And in that vision, Cain says those same bone-chilling words we heard at the beginning. I warned you, now he is mine. Frandsen tried to write it off as just a nightmare, until he got a phone call from his mother. His sister had miscarried. The vision, it wasn't a vision. It was real.
Now, this is where the story takes a really unexpected, kind of bizarre turn. According to the source material, Frandsen wasn't fighting completely on his own. He apparently got help from two very strange allies. A protective spirit he identified as his daughter Olivia, and, get this, covert support from an alleged extraterrestrial group called the Galactic Federation of Worlds. It's a wild detail in this otherwise very grounded battle, but it's a key part of the story he tells. So after the bargain, after the brutal retaliation, after all of that, immense personal loss, where did things end up between these two enemies?
So, what was the final outcome? Well, Frandsen's gambit did work. He managed to significantly diminish the Lord of Shadows' influence. And that documentary he offered? Yeah, it was a masterful bluff. It was never actually made. But the victory felt anything but clean. It came at an almost unbearable personal cost. The source makes it clear the war isn't really over. It's more like an uneasy ceasefire. And that really brings us to the core question of this whole tragic story. Frandsen saved his team. He struck a major blow against a powerful evil, but it cost his family 2 unborn children. It really makes you wonder, when you're fighting an enemy this ancient and this cruel, what price is too high for victory? And can you even call it a victory at all?